Just on the America's Cup, you mentioned the figure of, I think, 40 million that we put into this campaign, but wouldn't it be considerably more than that for defence, because you'd be also investing in infrastructure as well as a team?
I think that's a fair assumption, and that's the point I'm making, that we would need to go away and get some advice of what it all means. But if the team wins the cup, then one will assume they'll defend it in New Zealand. It's coming back to New Zealand, so I'd imagine, like the rest of the country, we'd be wanting to celebrate that fact and also think about how we can best assist them in the defence of the cup. I mean, certainly, if you go back and look at the last time we defended it, well, it was something that brought a lot of joy and pride to New Zealanders, and we host a lot of international events, from Rugby World Cup to Cricket World Cup in 2015 to the Under-20 FIFA World Cup. Something like the America's Cup, putting to one side whatever costs we would have to potentially bear, is highly affordable. Hosting an Olympics, or maybe even sometimes, well, not so much Commonwealth Games, but certainly an Olympics is not. So I don't perceive there to be any fiscal threat that we couldn't actually manage.
And in terms of people's expectations, for you mentioned the last defence, I mean, has something been lost since then? Obviously there weren't many challenges that turned up this time, and visitor numbers were way down in San Francisco. I mean, should New Zealanders kind of tone down their expectations for a defence here if it does happen?
Well, I mean, again, it will depend. You can make the case it was different, a decade or so ago. I don't know. I mean, people have been up in San Francisco tell me that when they've been down at the base and things, it's been a pretty awesome atmosphere. So New Zealanders like yachting, they like sailing, and they love Team New Zealand. So it might be that in a smaller city, in a smaller country where yachting is a big event and a big deal, it just meets with a different response.
A National opposed the 40 million that the Labour government committed. So does this make you a fair weather friend of the New Zealand Challenge?
No, I mean, we've never made a secret of the fact that the 36 million or 37 million that was put in was done by a Labour government, and B, when we came in, we tested whether it was absolutely cast iron that payment had to be made. You would expect us to do that. We also came in on the back of predictions that unemployment would go to 10-odd%, New Zealand would be in deficit for a decade or more. There were no circumstances under which Treasury thought we would get back into surplus, and there were a lot of New Zealanders saying that giving money to an America's Cup was very much in their nice to haves compared to giving support to people that might lose their jobs. So I don't make any apologies for that. I mean, that just is the way it is. But as it turned out, we did stay with it. We have paid it, and it is there. We're not debating that point. We're just simply saying what might happen if they win.
Would you do an investment after all?
Come and ask me if they win.
Would you do it if they lost?
If they lost, it would be much more difficult for us to put more money in again.